first time running the show, and there's a very good chance that I actually hit the wrong live button. So if you don't mind, bear with me, Mookie. I'm gonna go ahead and open the show again real quick. Welcome everybody to the episode of On the Beat, brought to you exclusively on the Overreaction Buffalo Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. This is the show where we bring you an exclusive interview with a different Bills beat reporter each week to talk about the swirling topics of the moment. And again, you heard from him already. It's MUKI Hawkins, WUFO Sports 1080. Sorry about that, Mookie. My first time running all the technical arrangements here, and I clicked on the wrong button. But, well, this is it, man. This is game prep week. You got to be excited. I know, shoot, me and the rest of Bills Mafia, we're just champing at the bit. Offseason is always, a flurry of confusion and concern, and people have all these great opinions. How did you survive this offseason?
Wow. I mean, we had the Bills had a great draft, so that kind of like brought the excitement back. That I think that they did a phenomenal job with what they brought in. I thought Brandon Beane stole just about in every round. I call him the burglar. Y'all call him Big Baller Bean. I call him the burglar because he likes to steal, especially in the meat and potato rounds, those 4th, 5th, 6th rounds. And again, I mean, to get a Deion Walker in the 4th round, to get a Jordan Hancock in the 5th round, to get a Dorian Strong in the 5th round, so I mean, I was really excited. I think they kind of hit at each pick in the rounds that they specifically was selecting. I thought they had a great pick, every step of the way in the draft class. I know everybody wanted a receiver. They still ended up getting one with Prather in the 7th round, but nevertheless, it all started with me with the draft. They went younger, stronger, faster up front with those young guys. When you look at Landon Jackson, TJ Sanders, Deion Walker, you add those with the other pieces that they brought in free agency, and it pretty much shaped that defensive line. Game is one up front, and I thought those did a pretty good job of addressing that over the offseason.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Mookie. But I'll tell you that the hit on Bean, the burglar in your parlance, has always been first round misses, right? Now we got Maxwell Hairston, first round out of Kentucky. And lo and behold, the kid's looking great in training camp, and then lateral collateral injury. Do you believe that once he gets healthy and starts to perform, this kind of softens that whole opinion on the burglar about his first round decisions?
I think Mad Max was a great pick. You get the fast corner. I think that's something that the Bills were really lacking for quite a while. Just a speed corner. I can't recall when the last time the Bills had a speed corner. And you saw that, in training camp, you saw the speed. So what you see on tape, you saw on the flesh with Mad Max. His recovery speed is just, it's top of the line. So to have a guy who runs 4.2, who could run with the Cheetahs of the world and the Xavier Worthies of the world, and also can play zone at that speed. You see him jumping and breaking on a lot of balls. That's something that we haven't seen since the early Trey White years.
Well, you hit on a couple things there, and I just have to say, it sounds a little bit like recruiting, and it sounds a little bit like fishing around for the right fit and the right candidate. And let me tell you something. I've owned a business and I've hired before, and waiting for the right candidate to apply can be really rough. Sorting through resumes is absolutely no fun at all. And then once you get a resume you like, try getting a hold of that candidate. It's pretty challenging. But the future of hiring looks brighter because ZipRecruiter's latest tools and features allow you to find the right people for your roles, so you save valuable time. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/audio. With ZipRecruiter's new advances, you can easily find and connect with qualified candidates in minutes. See a candidate you're really interested in? You can unlock their contact info instantly. Use ZipRecruiter and save time hiring. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And if you go to ziprecruiter.com/audio right now, you can try it for free. Again, ziprecruiter.com/audio.
Right now.
ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire, Mookie. It's a lot easier on ZipRecruiter than it is being a general manager for an NFL football team.
Well, we got to make sure that they're in the, they're in the draft room at the combine when, being in them pull up next year. They got to bring ZipRecruiter with them.
So you're damn straight. Hey, Mookie, I know that, you're very highly regarded among the beat reporters. You ask great questions in the pressers. I always love it when you bring pressers or bring questions in the pressers. And you have such a good rapport with the players. And I'm just kind of curious for my own sake, former Duke, my boys play at Duke, Dwayne Carter, with the Achilles injury, how's that been for you, for Dwayne? Are you hearing from him at all?
Normally I would, but it's just like, you know what? I don't know what to say to my guy. It's like we haven't had the conversation. I know his phone has been ringing on and off the hook, and he's going through what he's going through. So speedy recovery for him. I may just tap in with him, when I get off the pod. But good spirits. Mr. Duke, he's an awesome human being. Good spirit. So, hey, a step back to take two steps ahead. He'll be back stronger, better than ever. So. It's just tough to see. He was having a great training camp this year, so I was hoping to see some great things. But hey, we got to save it for next year.
That's right. Yeah, I reached out to him today via text and just sent him my well wishes. He thanked me, and I like Mookie are hoping that he has a great recovery. So Mookie, my next topic is kind of a blend because of the players that are involved, right? So now Dwayne Carter's out. We know that. It seems almost, premonitious to have brought in Jordan Phillips for the practice squad. But then today, we signed Gabe Davis. Now, I know there's a limit on the number of veterans you can have on the practice squad. So how does that sort out now, right? Dwayne Carter's out. You got Phillips waiting in the wings. You signed Gabe Davis. Is this just an obvious trade out and activation?
Can you repeat that again?
So Jordan Phillips and Gabe Davis on the practice squad. You can only carry, was it 5 or 6 vets on the practice squad? So where does that leave Jordan? Does he become active straight away because of Dwayne Carter? And does that relieve the spot for Gabe Davis on the practice squad?
That's what I'm thinking that it's doing. Because there is one roster spot available due to the fact that Carter is out with the Achilles there. So they haven't brought they brought Gabe Davis in, but that's a practice squad spot. So 9 times out of 10, Poyer looks good. Poyer is like he's slimped up. Obviously he's ready to play. We got a veteran now, so he can help Cole Bishop, but he needs to be on the field as well. So
okay, so you heard it here, Mookie calling out Jordan Poyer gonna be on the field. I was referring to Jordan Phillips there. We got quite a few Jordans on the team, at least 2 anyway.
I think it would be Poyer. I think it would be Poyer before it would be Phillips. They still
okay.
Look at what they have up front. You got Sanders, you got Deion Walker, who's had a phenomenal training camp, right? So you add Daquan Jones in that sauce, and then you add Ed Oliver in that mix. That's a great rotation right there then in itself. So and then you don't want to, Jordan Phillips don't have to rush back, but we need some help on that back end at safety. So I would say Jordan Poyer will probably, be able to take that roster spot just in case, because, hey, our safeties are a little bit banged up as well, right? So if I was a gambling man, I would say Poyer would get the nod for the 53 right now.
Okay, and you're okay with 2 rookies backing up Daquan. That's what you're going with. All right, man.
Yeah, when are you going to start the youth movement? You got to start the youth movement at some point, and those guys got to learn. The only way they're going to learn is they're on the field getting those reps. In the Bills, and I commend them for the first time. That's the route they went. Normally, they would go and bring in a journeyman for $5 to $6 million, like they did with Larry O. And but now your rookies is paying off in there, and they can play, right? So you can't
So
let them sit back and collect dust.
so they must have saw something in Poyer that, obviously he knows the system, right? He knows the city, he knows the people, he knows the people in the locker room, front office. Is that the reason you go with Poyer rather than a couple of other really quality guys that are right on the street right now? Is it salary cap? Is it Poyer? Is it a mix? Is it a blend?
I think it's trust, if anything. You gotta look at it in the Sean McDermott era. Hyde and Poyer were the top two guys that they brought in, the first two guys. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, Coach McDermott was a safety, right? So you brought those two guys in, then you draft in Tre'Davious White. And the Bills have been spoiled for 7, 8 years because of Poyer and Hyde. So you got to bring, you brought Micah Hyde back to, potentially groom Rap, right? Cover guy over the top. So you bring Poyer back to, groom Cole Bishop and get him, up to par. But in the same token, Jordan Poyer still got some gas left in that tank, and he can be quite helpful out there, for this veterans Bills team that's making a run. So it's more of the trust. I know it's Justin Simmons out there, but Justin Simmons is gonna want $4 or $5 million that the Bills don't have.
Right.
It is the other guy, Blackman from out of Indianapolis. Again, everybody would love to come to Buffalo, but when they do come to Buffalo and sit down, they all want their money. So
Sure.
Poyer, hey, he's been there, he's done that, he didn't have his bag, and I know that he will want one more shot at taking a Super Bowl run before, hey, he ride off into the sunset. So it's not about money with Poyer. It's all about, legacy and hopefully, helping his team get over the hump. His first commitment when he came in, during his first stint here. So.
Right. No, I don't disagree with you. I like it. I think that as a fan base, we see a name that flashes and automatically think we can just sign a guy. The cap is a restriction. And then when you got a young safety like Cole Bishop, you're looking for some sort of mentorship, some leadership. So it makes good sense to me. It's sometimes that just emotion, takes hold. All right, so let's stick with defense, right? You got Christian Benford. He's your starting CB1.
Mm-hmm.
Who's CB2?
Right now, you have to go with the rookie from VTech. It had to be Dorian Strong. I mean, even though I saw Tre'Davious Saturday, the leg looks fine. He wasn't showing no limp. He wasn't favoring it at all. So I don't know. You may see Tre'Davious White out there because you need the veteran to start out there. But I got some solid confidence in Strong. Strong had a solid camp as well. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Strong would carry the nod due to the fact that Tre'Davious is still dealing with a lower leg injury. Don't know the severity of that, but when I was with him Saturday, he looked perfectly fine.
All right, so Tre'Davious, 53-man for the game, or you rest him entirely and you bring in Ingram and backfill it from, backups. What do you think? Does Tre'Davious dress?
I would think that probably would be their route because you want a guy like Tre'Davious on the back end, rather on the front end, right? So I think the Bills are going to be very, very cautious with, bringing Tre'Davious White back. The same way that they did with Matt Max, right? You put him on IR so he don't come back to week 4 on top of the 4 weeks they said it would take for the LCL to heal. So precaution. 8 weeks for Matt Max, so he'll be fully ready to roll. And again, I think Dorian Strong and Ingram could fit the bill. For the most part, still got Cam Lewis out there, but if the defensive front go out and do what they supposed to do, then I can go and play cornerback for the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, I don't know. But hey, thanks to everybody joining in the comments there. Maggie, Jay, 716 Sports Blizzard, Richard Rush, all of our great crew here watching the Overreaction Buffalo podcast presented by FanDuel. On the beat with MUKI HAWKINS, doing long-term, season-long planning, not just thinking about game one. Very impressive, MUKI. I like your takes. overall, right? We did our season. Joe and I picked our wins and losses for the season. If you're willing, how do you think this first game, the Ravens coming to town, will shake out?
Whew, I mean, it's a personal game for Baltimore. I mean, obviously you're going up against a team that pretty much booted that killed your season last year. So you face that team week one. So it's definitely some revenge, and it's playing in that factor. A little bit more extra juice, coming from Baltimore. And make no mistake about it, this is going to be one. This is going to be another slug match. This is a playoff game week one, right? Because it's going to have so many implications down the line that you want to win this game. So um, Baltimore is coming into Buffalo with a chip on their shoulder, but guess what? They're coming into Buffalo. So it's going to be tough. Season opener at home, Sunday night. Bills Mafia is going to be rocking. It's going to be crazy atmosphere. And, the Bills, they do not want to let, Bills Mafia down at the home opener, no matter who they're playing. So it kind of adds a little bit to the pot week one to, hey, let's bring the thunder here, because week one is a time where you can catch a team slipping, and then they'll find their mark, they'll find their groove down the line. But guess what? You'll have that win against them, and hopefully that'll play out when playoff implications come for seeding purposes. So it's a big game. Baltimore is coming in here, pissed off, but Sean McDermott, Josh Allen, and the crew, they're going to have to match that intensity and fight fire with fire, and man, be ready to slug it out with these guys.
All right. So what I'm hearing is Mookie Hawkins picking the Bills by zero point 0.5 points over the Ravens. I don't know where that puts you on the betting line and FanDuel, but I heard it from Mookie, and so did you. Let's stick with being ready and up for this really big game, and I agree with you. Right, the Ravens are going to come in with an edge on them, considering how they think we stole their season or took it away from them last year in the playoffs. What is your take on the lack of preseason game performance from our ones, especially with respect to the offense? I mean, you didn't see those guys. Is that concerning to you? Would you have liked, just as a philosophy, would Mookie have had the guys out there maybe a quarter in the last game or not?
Not the last game. If I was going to do something with the ones, I would have did it in the first game.
Okay, but you would. That's basically
I
the
would have
question.
did it the first game. If Josh was going to play, I would have did it the first game, and be done with it. And I'm cool that he didn't play. I mean, I'm just more or less thinking that, again, with all the injuries that was happening with the team in training camp, you can't have nothing with you can't have no mishaps with your franchise, right? So it
Right.
was more of precaution, rather than fit and scheme and stuff like that, getting down packed with the guys. We know that he has timing and chemistry with Keon Coleman right now. So that's basically what you really wanted to see out of training camp, with who is going to be that next guy Josh had that connection with. He had it with Khalil Shakur, he has it with Kincaid, and now you see it with Keon Coleman. And you do have some extra weapons there as well as Josh Palmer and Elijah Moore, but it's good to see that connection with, the former top pick from last year in Keon Coleman. And he's been looking up the power. And again, that's going to be another matchup problem that Josh Allen and Coach Brady can use to their advantage.
All right. Well, you brought up Keon Coleman, so I have to ask you, who's dressing in the wide receiver room? You got six guys, right? Khalil still has questionable on him. I think he plays. Keon's definitely playing. Palmer's out there. So you got to choose between Elijah Moore, Curtis Samuel, and Terrell Shavers.
When you look at all six of those guys, I mean, they can potentially suit up all six. They really could, but I mean,
Can you, though, given what's happening in the secondary? I mean, and you're looking at special teams contributors. Is that the way to go?
well, yeah, when you look at it, you look at Shavers, he's a special teams guy. He plays
Right.
receiver, so that's a possibility that keeps him in the sauce, right? Um, Only one I would have to say out of the receiving core is Samuels, because he's been dealing with injuries throughout training camp. So that will be my only one that say, hey, it's a possibility that he may not suit up due to whatever injury he's dealing with. I think it's a quad or whatever the case may be. So That would be the only one. And, that can make Shavers bump up where, they can have fine. Make no mistake about it. The Bills are definitely going to have fine receivers, suited and booted.
I agree with you there. And I think you're right. If they're going to sit anybody, it's going to be Samuel. Get him right, get him healthy. Had some issues in camp at the end of camp. There's no point racing him back when, in my inexpert opinion in the wide receiver space, it's kind of a toss up between more Samuel and Shavers, right? I like the idea of dressing Shavers, getting him on the field. He's coming off a great last preseason game where he really showed his stuff. So maybe you just kind of continue to ride that wave and get that guy free and out of the gate running down the field.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no rush. It's a 17-week season, man. So gotta keep those guys healthy, for the most part. And then again, you want them to be healthy down the stretch when the season, really start getting into the nitty gritty. You want to have all your dogs available. So it's no rush to bringing Samuel back. This is probably one of the best receiving rooms that Josh Allen has had. When you look at it from receiver number 1 all the way to 6, this is a great group, and I do mean that with Gabe Davis and the Stephon Diggs, in those rooms, at some point. This right here from 1 to 6 is probably, the best receiving room that Josh Allen has had.
All right, that's great stuff. I got just a couple more questions for you. I told you I wouldn't keep you too long. So the first one is, tell everybody where they can find you and tell them why you're so important to their Bills content.
You can find me under a good rock, you know what I mean? You can check me at Power 96.5 FM radio, all right? And we also operate on 1080 down. All right, so we got an FM and we have AM, so you can catch me either way. You can catch me at MUKI HAWKINS on Instagram, Facebook. You can catch me on the Fanbase Network. We got some great things that's going to be happening, a little more exclusive with the Bills players for each of our content creators on all our shows. So we're doing some big things on the Fanbase Network.
All right, Power 96.5, Mookie. I wasn't aware. You're listening to MUKI HAWKINS on the Overreaction Buffalo Sports Network. On the beat with Mookie. Thanks to everybody coming into the comments. We're dialing down. These weeks get really fast now during the season. I know everybody's amped up. And I got to tell you, I mean, it's pretty cool to see your quarterback ranking in that top 100. We're coming in at number 3, Josh Allen. What's your opinion, man? I mean, how great is that?
It's good to see. I mean, it is good to see. What Josh was 12 or 11 last year. So I mean, there's the improvement. I know everybody's saying, "Oh, Josh should have been 1," but he's the MVP, right? And I like that he didn't get 1. Because now it's room for improvement. Now it's something that he can really, shoot for. So he can have another chip on the shoulder, if you will. Be the guy next year. You won the MVP last year, win the MVP, and be number 1 on the top 100. So, I mean, there's still more work for Josh to do. And I'm kind of glad that he didn't get the number 1 spot because, it's going to fuel the fire a little bit more. But make no mistake about it, Lamar Jackson had one hell of a season. And we all know what Saquon Barkley did, right, in his first year in Philly. So you got to take your hats off to those two guys. And, Josh at 3, hey, I'll take that. I'll definitely take Josh top 3. Top quarterback, well, no, because Lamar Jackson was 2. So there you have it.
Yep.
Give
Good
people
stuff,
their flowers, man. Josh can't have everything. He can't have it all. He can't have everything. Josh on the Super Bowl mission right now.
Hey, Mookie, I gotta ask you. It's time to come to confession. I want to know, Mookie. I got the cloak on and everything. We're sitting there. It's private. There's only about 100,000 people who will listen to this. Where were you on the Josh Allen pick when it happened? Were you on the side of, okay, worst mistake ever, or all right, I could see this guy?
I like.
You got to be honest, bro. We'll dig up the
like
tweets.
I like to pick. I like to pick because for years the Bills have had small quarterbacks. We haven't had that since Jim. We never really had. We never really had a true quarterback. When you look at it, Doug Flutie, Doug Flutie was next. When you look at that stretch, when you look at the quarterbacks this Bills organization have, when you look at Jim, after Jim,
Yeah.
Doug Flutie was probably the next guy. Drew Bledsoe, Doug Flutie, and then after that,
Stature wise, you could throw EJ Manuel in there. You could throw Tyrod Taylor in there,
yeah,
but I
right.
think Josh. What I love about that pick was, this is a guy who's got an axe to grind. I wasn't recruited. I had to beg to go to a junior college. I ended up in, I think at the time it was the WAC conference playing at Wyoming. So you always want a guy that's always hungry. And I agree with you. I really liked the pick when it first came out. I mean, of course I live in the West, Mookie, and with the way it runs, y'all are in bed for like 4 hours, and the Wyoming game is just starting at like 10 o'clock at night out here in the West, and I'm watching this kid. I'm like, who is this guy? So yeah, we're blessed to have Josh Allen. If you can tell me, Mookie, the one vast improvement we need on offense, and we've always slammed the defense. What do you want to see as a change up defensively? Give me those 2 points and I'll get you out of here.
Well, let's finish out the Josh Allen thing.
Oh,
I love the
okay.
Josh Allen because you had Lamar Jackson, you had him, right? So you got Lamar Jackson with the Vic comparison, and then you get Josh with the Cam Newton comparison. I went with the Cam Newton comparison. We getting the Cam Newton. We getting a guy that has the Cam Newton comparison. Now, Michael Vick is a dog too, but I'd rather go with the Cam Newton comparison. And then again, it seemed like he was a perfect fit. You playing in Wyoming with all those elements and the weather and all that stuff. We know that he can throw a cold ball, right? So, that's the thing. Can you come to Buffalo and still maintain that accuracy? Can you still, sling it? So I was all in on the Josh Allen train right from the rip with it. When
awesome.
I went to saw him at the Potato Bowl, I was like, okay, yeah, he makes plays. Like he's a football player. Like he's a guy. If we were picking Sandlot, I'm picking him, right? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that was definitely a spot on pick. And look at the success that this organization has been having. By taking that chance, because everybody thought that Josh had that boom or bust because they didn't really know. They still didn't know who he was, really. This kid out of Wyoming with no offers, right? Cannon arm. So to answer your question with the cannon arm, I want to see the Bills offensively take more shots down the field. I don't want to see them taking the shots down the field when they're down a couple of scores and they got to take a shot. Take the shot because you got Josh Allen and now you got receivers that can go and get the football. Take some shots. You got James Cook, as a top 10 running back. He's definitely a threat. So, man, that run action with James Cook and Josh can throw it from every angle all over the field. Let's see it this year. Let it be bombs over Baghdad this year with Josh Allen. Just taking some more shots down the field. Defensively, I mean, hey, we just got to get after the quarterback. We got to fix third down. Maybe if they can put some more blitz packages together on third down to stop that bleeding, because we all know Coach McDermott's scheme. They're going to play off, and it's tough. I mean, I've asked the questions like on 3rd and 15, you are only sending 4 guys. You have 7 in coverage. How are receivers still wide open when you have 7 guys back in cover? So you're already playing a passive aggressive defense.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So it can't be. Something has to change. You can't keep being in that scheme in your front four and getting it done. You're not sending an extra guy, or you being a little bit more creative in your play design on third down. And if your front four ain't doing it, you have to send another guy. You have to do something, because you got 7 guys in coverage and guys are still wide open.
Yeah, and we haven't really had a creator at the defensive end spot since Leonard Floyd. So now Bosa's on board. We got to wait for Hoyt, but hopefully Epinesa and Rousseau, developed the strategies, worked on some moves, and then you bring that 5th or 6th guy. You got to sell out every now and again and come after him. I agree with you. I agree with you, Mookie.
I think Solomon is gonna shock everybody. Solomon's gonna have a good year, sophomore year. Given opportunity, he flashed last year. Epineza, we all know that he's solid. Solid in the rotation. You bringing in Bosa, he showed you during that Giants game. Where he could definitely make his presence felt. Very solid in the run game. That's something that Von Miller gave you that pass rush, but Bosa can give you the run support and the pass rush. He's a big guy, big bear. And then you got another big guy over there, Greg Rousseau, who's playing like an NFL senior right now. So, I think that this is a good, mature bunch, and hopefully everything could strike at the right time defensively up front. And then, hey, you get after the quarterback, you get him off the field at third down, offense is scoring 30 points a game. So, we got all the recipes. It's just got to all fit together. They got to put it together.
I agree with you. Hey, Mookie, thanks for joining me here on the Beat on the Overreaction Sports Podcast. Listen, it's always great catching up with you. I look forward to seeing you hopefully once or twice this year. With the Duke schedule, I'm not sure I'm going to make it in. We're going to wrap this show up. Just know that you got Jerry Ostrowski with the Big O Show tomorrow. Don't forget to catch Anthony Marino on the Overreaction Sports Network. Thanks for everybody joining in the comments. Wherever you catch this podcast, share it with a friend, hit that like button, subscribe, and that's
nobody got a question for me in the comments. No questions in the comments.
Typically we wait for kind of the super chat. I didn't see a ton of questions popping up, so I know they love you, buddy.
Let me ask you a question.
Oh boy. Okay, here we go.
What are your thoughts on the Gabe Davis pickup?
Well, again, I think that, people regress to the mean for comfort, right? So if he not just passes the physical, but they expect that he is, fully recovered or 90% or what have you, I think it's a good play because he knows the offense. I think he's a pretty fair weapon. And when you compare the availability of who's out there, who you could go after, with the salary cap, I like it. Now, I mean, the slings and arrows were out. I mean, half the people on, social media were killing the Bills for it. And the other half were like, welcome home, Gabe. So I'm good with the pick. We got 6 wide receivers now. We add him to the practice squad. I don't see him being an impact, so I don't see the harm.
Yeah, Gabe Davis is in the back pocket, come playoff time. Get completely healthy. We all know, make no mistake about it, what he's done, for this Bills team in the playoffs. So Gabe Davis is definitely a piece that the Bills are going to use down the line, right? So I think it was a good pick. It's good to bring Gabe back. He can right his wrongs, right? And it's not costing the Bills anything, right? So
That's
definitely getting a solid player who just have to get healthy and, who's been in his system. He knows about the culture here and, that, and it's just, that's how it is. Buffalo is contagious, man. They leave, they want to come back, man. It's just contagious.
The red, white, and blue, America's team, baby.
Absolutely.
All right, Mookie, is that your final thought, or you got one last thing to say to the audience out there?
That is not an overreaction, John. Okay.
Ooh, okay. Well, Mookie, thank you. Thanks for joining us from Power 96.5 and WUFO 1080. Find Mookie everywhere on social media at MUKI HAWKINS. And for me, for Mookie, for Jerry, for Anthony, for Joe, and the network, and all you people in the comments and listening, thank you so much. And here we go. Go Bills.
Welcome to On the Beat,